File. Okay. So now, welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a great break over there for a couple minutes there. So now we're going to be diving into chapter 6, reports. Now, this is very, 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 very important, especially if you are the accountant itself, as in you're the one that's the overseeing person, because this is where your the primary position as an accountant comes into play, because you are responsible to create these reports. Okay. So all the reports that we got to take a look at is also we're gonna talk really briefly about them. So chapter 6 is talking about reports. There are two types of reports. There are accounting reports, which deals with anything that has to do with strictly just accounts only. So as you can see, this little table sums it up for you. And then we have the business management reports. So the difference between the two, all right, is I would say the accounting reports are the necessities to for any accountant to do, whereas business management reports, they're kind of more tailored for a specific aspect of the company, right? It allows you to take a look at your customers, your vendors, your employees, any information that's pertinent to the business, your sales reports, right? Your receivable reports, anything that can allow as a business to oversee or use that information to make projections, predict predictions, or even make, for example, if you're looking at the customer list, right? What can you do with the customer list? That's a very powerful thing that you can utilize. So for today, I'm going to show you both different types of business reports, but I actually want to primarily focusing mostly on the accounting aspect of reports. So again, two types of reports. Accounting, that deals with only strictly just accounts. And then you have your business management that deals with the overall other aspects in the business itself. Okay? So when we talk about reports, we talk about cash versus accrual. So this is a really good feature to know, especially when you're running your reports, because oftentimes when we choose to be to do our accounting as an accrual basis, what we essentially are doing is we're allowing a lot of credits to be flowing around. For example, right, we allow our customers to owe us money, and we also vendors allow us to owe them money too. So here, when we're talking about the accrual basis, it kind of gives us a overall assumption of how our business is doing based on whether we receive money or not. All right, and that's the fine line there. Whereas the cash basis actually gets to take a look at a perspective where how much cash are we actually really receiving, and how much cash we're really spending. So that's the real difference between the reports. And we're going to take a look at an example here in on how you can toggle these reports. So let's go ahead and dive right into chapter 6. So I'm going to also introduce you to the report center. So as I mentioned before, you're not only limited to just the menu bar. You have a report center, and the report center is actually, I like it a lot. It's something I haven't introduced to you yet because it is definitely going to be something that you are going to be utilizing in chapter 6. So as we know, to run our reports, it's pretty much straightforward. If we go to our menu bar, and we can take a look here. Now, the only thing that we have here is we only have a list of all of our reports. We don't really know what the details are into it until we actually click on it. We don't even know what they look like. okay, until we click on it. So that's just one downside. However, the list here on this menu gives you the total list of every single report that you can create in QuickBooks. And it's all based on categories. So again, we talked about these categories before, right? How they pertain to your position in the business, right? If you're a sales representative, then your reports are going to be based on your sales. If you're a person who's in charge of inventory, then yours is going to be under inventory, right? That's pretty much what this little section gives you here. But I'm going to go ahead and show you the report center. So the report center is going to be, again, it's going to be found on the icon bar. So again, remember when I was talking to you about why the icon bar is the icon bar? It's because, essentially it's a shortcut, but it actually gives you a list of all the major, centers that exist, right? We have, you don't call this a center, but your income tracker is pretty much a center for all of your bills, right? I'm sorry, not bills. Your accounts receivable, excuse me. Where so all your invoices are going to be there. So you can kind of treat it like as an invoice center. Where your bill tracker keeps track of all of your bills, right? You can say that is your bill center. And then if we keep going down, we're going to go ahead and look for our little center for reports. So where is reports? Here's documents. There you go. Reports. Want to click on it? This is now the report center. Okay. And there's awesome ways that we can look around it. All right. So I'm going to first introduce you on how you can display the report center. All right. So by going up to this little right top corner right here, the first thing that we're going to take a look at right now, we are currently in the grid form, but I'm going to go ahead and take a look at every single one. So if we go to carousel view, it's really cool. You can flip through your reports like a carousel. But of course, and then you get to even show an overview of what they look like. They give you a little sample file of what it should look like, right? And if you keep flipping forward, you can get, it shows you a lot of things. And at the very bottom here where it shows you that you can run it, you can choose your time and dates on what you want to do. So it's actually pretty cool when you're using the carousel view. And on your left side panel is, again, going to be your categories of what reports you can look at. So again, here I have my sales reports. So then again, if I use my carousel view, it allows me to, look through them nice and smoothly. But of course, with that being said, you do need to have a fast operating computer for it to be able to handle this. As you can see, if you look very, very carefully, it doesn't run very smoothly when I go through each report because it's a heavy program, or it uses a lot of random access memory that you need to have a faster processor for it to, glide through the screen smoothly. But in this case, that's the best I can do for this computer. But yes, this is really cool. You get to flip through them. It's awesome. I like this view. But of course, it's not practical for my computer. All right. Other ones that we could take a look at is going to be, this is called list view. List view is just like we see here in our menu bar. It's pretty much a list of all your reports, just like that. And it allows you to either like them, save them, run them, etc., etc. Even it asks you if you need help on them. You're able to do that as well. And if you want more information on them, it gives you a little synopsis of what each report does. So that's what's really cool. But again, this one, to me, it's not really effective because it's pretty much the same as if you were to go to your menu bar, So that's why I think the best way to look at something is going to be grid view. All right, because not only does it give you a combination between carousel and list view, it shows you a little sample of what each report looks like. All right, so instead of a lot of people, they're visually they like a visual appeal. So in this kind of sense, this is good for people who like that kind of visual aspect. So like they getting to see a little sample of what it looks like, and at the top it gives you a list of the title of what this report is, etc., etc. So in my personal opinion, grid view is the best view, because if this is your first time using QuickBooks and you're not quite sure what these reports look like, well, there you go. You get a little sneak preview of each report that exists in QuickBooks, and and they're all based on category too. So if I want sales, I can look at all my my list here. I have sales by ship to address list. All right, so that is the report center for you. So now that we got to take a look at the report center, now we're going to be breaking down to what actually each report entails. Okay, and then as I go along with that, I'm going to show you the difference between the cash basis versus the accrual basis and how you're able to toggle it from there. So the first one I'm going to show you is we're going to be talking about accounting types of reports. Okay, so accounting types reports are anything that is going to be dealt with our accounts. Now when we learn in accounting, there are 4 major important financial statements that must be released out at the end of every given period. So that could be every month, every quarter, or every year. All right, you can even do daily reports if it's necessary, right? And those 4 important ones are going to be the profit and loss, or also known as the income statement, the statement of equity, okay, the balance sheet, and then we have the statement of cash flows, okay? So those are going to be considered the top 4 financial reports that is mandatory for all accountants, for all companies, for corporations, small businesses. They are required to submit this to the IRS, and for corporations, they are by law required to supply this information on their website every year. Okay, so then the most important thing is they need to inform their stockholders how their business is doing. So that's why those are the 4 important things. In QuickBooks, those 4 become 3. Okay, so in QuickBooks, we learned that there's only 3 because 2 of them are combined together. The balance sheet and the statement of equity are going to be combined together. Okay, and I'll explain each one as we move through each one. So, of course, the first one that we're going to be looking at is going to be the profit and loss. Profit and loss, pretty straightforward. What do you use the profit and loss for? You're going to use the profit and loss report to determine whether your company is profitable, right? Did it make a profit this year, or did it make a loss? Did I have a lot of sales to bring me up above the line, or did I have too many expenses that I incurred this month that caused me to take a loss this month? All right, and that's actually going to be one of the most standard reports there. So there are the main category it falls under is going to be company and financials. So here it's going to be the very top one, and as you can see, it's the very first one. Now, what's the difference between standard, detailed, and etc.? Of course, when you're looking at a profit and loss, if we look on the menu bar, Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the one on the menu bar, because that gives you the list of out every single report that exists for that. So company and financials. So profit and loss, right? We have the standard one. Standard one is the one that all companies must use. Standard pretty much gives you, the overall summary or the overall information on your profitability. So it gives you a list of all of your revenues, and it gives a list of all of your expenses, and it basically determines whether you made a profit or a loss. All right. So standard is the one that all companies must use to produce and report either to the IRS or to submit online. Okay. Detailed just breaks it down into detail. Of course, if your revenues, right, is broken down on based on what your items that you sell, then that's it right there. Okay. And of course, there's more other ones such as year to date, previous years. You don't really need to know that one. You can do profit and loss by jobs. We could do profit and loss by class. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the profit and loss by class. So, of course, I clicked on that using the menu bar. But let's go ahead and practice using the report center. So, in order to properly do that one, right, we're gonna go ahead and find the report that we want. So, if we want to look at profitability, all right, profit and loss by class, this is gonna show me which store location is more profitable. Is my San Jose location making more profits, or is my Walnut Creek location going to be making more profits? Or if not, my overhead. Is my overhead spending too much money? And that's where we're going to go and take a look. So here you have the option here. You can toggle the dates right here to find a specific targeted month that you want to look at, or even a date if that's more specific, right? Usually when you run your reports, it's usually at the end of a given period. You never want to do it in the middle of the period unless you're doing it for fun. But most cases, the reports are usually done at the end of a given period, because that's how you can compare and contrast your previous statements, right? If you do a monthly statement or a monthly report, then you can compare. Last month I didn't do so hot. This month I did okay. The next month I'm going to do better, All right. So that's where we can go ahead and toggle the dates right here. I'm going to say, well, because obviously in 2021 I didn't make any profits, I know for sure, because everything that we did was involving as of January 2019. So my projection I'm going to do is going to be the 1st of January of 2019, and I'm going to make the cutoff block to be the end of January of 2019. So I'm going to give myself a monthly report. And then your options is I'm going to run it. All right. Here is my monthly projections as of January, for the month of January. So here I can see right here. My first one is overhead. This one doesn't belong. This is more for the overall company itself, right? My bank account belongs to both or neither store locations. It's meant for both of them. All right. So as you can see, my overhead, its profit is a loss. I am at a negative $1.38. So in my administrative department, I'm not doing so good. I spent a little more money on that side versus making any profits. Okay, but usually with overhead, you're not going to make a profit. Here, let's check out my San Jose location. San Jose location, all right, so top part is my revenues. Okay, so I'm doing so good here. Next part's my expenses, so I'm doing okay here. And notice at the very end, I'm at a negative $2,418 for my San Jose location. That means I'm not doing so good in San Jose location for the month of January. However, let's look at Walnut Creek. My profit margins or my revenues looks really good. My expenses don't compare. And let's look at the very bottom. I have a positive 1,595, meaning I am doing very great in my Walnut Creek location. And of course, if you do the standard one, we did the totals here. So right now, for the month of January, I'm not looking too good. I'm at a negative 924 overall in both my locations as well as all the other, my admin part and then my undefined parts. Okay, so right now my profit and loss not doing too good. All right, I'm at a negative number. All right, now this report is currently reflecting as an accrual basis, meaning this is the money that I allow people to owe me money. So is that a real projection of profitability? No, because I've sold my products, I've done my services, but I didn't get paid for them. So here at the very top of this window, to make it more easy and convenient to switch back and forth, you can choose to either show an accrual basis report or a cash basis report. Okay, so just by clicking, I'm going to go ahead and click cash and see what happens here. And then I'm going to refresh my report because you never know. Sometimes it could be stuck on that screen. So the good thing about this is you always want to refresh. So now I'm refreshing my materials. And look, I am doing way worse in San Jose. And but my cash for my Walnut Creek is still doing okay. So that means I'm still profitable for my Walnut Creek because most of my sales were paid in cash. So that's a good sign. However, my overall is not so good. Overall, it's because I'm allowing people to owe me money. In reality, is my company profitable? I'm at a negative $1,000 because I'm running my report as cash basis, meaning every service that I provide, which one is actually am I earning the real money for? I'm not doing so hot overall in general. Okay, so that's what's really cool, and you can always flip them and reverse them at any given time. So here I'm going to switch it back to accrual basis. Okay, that's one way you can switch them, but another way that you can do it too, which the book shows you as well, is you can go to your edit and you can go to your preferences, and then what you're going to do is you're going to click your reports and graphs. You're going to make sure you're on company, and you could flip them on back and forth here as well. But the bad thing about this is the convenience of having to go through, you got to go to edit, preference, reports. Make sure that you click on this. Then you got to click on this. Then you got to click on OK. That's a little more tedious when right here it does it. It gives you the option to do it right here. So again, that's just setting the preference. That means in general, when you produce your financial statements, it's going to be defaulted to start off as an accrual basis versus a cash basis first. And then here, it gives you the flexibility to switch between them here. So that's that part right there. But looking at our profit and loss by class, we're not doing too great, okay, for the month of January of 2019, all right? So again, what the profit and loss, it just takes our total revenues that we've made, and it subtracts out all of our expenses to determine whether we made a profit or a loss. In this case, I made double whammy negative numbers here, so therefore I'm taking a huge loss for the month of January, meaning I have way too many expenses that my my sales isn't cutting it. That means I gotta find some way to make a lot more sales, so then my expenses are always covered. All right. And here's a fun fact too. If you are a small business, right, and you're starting up fresh, brand new, the rule is if you do not make a profit 3 out of the 5 years of doing business, the government is going to demote and revoke your business license and consider you as a hobby. Meaning your taxes that you paid for as a business owner is going to, you're going to get double tax on that because it's becoming a hobby. It's because the whole purpose of owning a business is that you want to try to intentionally make a profit. So that's the rule there for IRS. If you do not make profits 3 out of the 5 years, it can be consecutive, it can be spread apart. Maybe the first 2 years you made a profit, then you made a loss, then you made a profit. At least 3 of the 5 must have some kind of profit. If not, they're going to write you off as a hobby, and you're going to get taxed way higher than a business, than a regular small business. So that's a little fun fact there, okay, in case you want to go into business. And of course, you can't establish corporation right away. It takes time to build up your business. You have to start from square one, which is starting as a small business and making and growing to a point where you can become incorporated status. So that's just also another fun fact too about business. All right, so that was the first one that we got to take a look at, is profit and loss. So again, it depends on what kind of information you're looking for. The best rule of thumb is you should go for the standardized one, because if you are going to be applying for a job and you're going to be applying as the general accountant, then you should know the standard reports. They're the one that's required for all businesses to complete at the end of a given period. Okay, this one is a little more extra because it allows you to separate, allows you to see which store is doing better. Okay, so that's the first one I wanted to show you. Second one I'm going to show you is going to be the where's my report center? That's not it. I think I exit out of it. The next one I'm going to show you is going to be the balance sheet. All right. Now, when we talk about the balance sheet is going to determine one factor. All right. And it's going to be the underlying accounting model. Oh, I'm sorry, the accounting equation. Right? So this is taking back to square one. Chapter 1. Chapter 1, we talked about the accounting 101. The basic, fundamental, backbone, whatever you want to call it, to accounting is your assets must equal your liabilities plus your equity. That means everything that you own must be equivalent to everything that you owe and the value of the company. All right? Or if you want to flip and reverse it, the value of the company is going to be equal to everything that you own, subtract everything that you owe. So understanding that fundamental line, then the balance sheet is where it's going to come into play. So again, we're going to be in company and financials, and we're just going to keep scrolling down until we see it's going to be after the profit and loss. Right here, it gives you a little section that allows you to separate your stuff. So balance sheet is going to be right here, balance sheet. You could do the standard one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the standard one so we can take a look at this one. And I want it to reflect, again, this time let's do 2 months out, okay? So then we our reports are looking a little better. So we're gonna say as of January 1st of 2019 all the way to, let's make this, let's make this February of February 28th of 2019. All right, so we're looking at a 2-month projection right here, and I'm going to click run. So here is where the balance sheet, it gives you a list of all your assets, right? And it gives you a total, okay? And then it gives you all list of all of your liabilities, and as well as your equity account. Your equity account should be the last one. And it gives you a total. And because the fundamental line or equation that we're trying to prove is that do all of your assets right here. So I have $43,105 worth of assets. Does that equal to all your liabilities plus your equity? In this case, for $43,105 or $6, they match. They're in balance. So that is what this report shows. So it's basically a list of all of your assets. So everything that you own, plus everything that you owe, plus the current value of your company, right? So when I was talking about the statement of equity, when it comes to depending on what kind of business you are, if you're a sole proprietor, if you're a partnership, if you're a corporation, you're going to have some form of equity. Equity, as we know it, is completely different from property management equity, all right? They kind of are similar, but they have, in terms of meaning, is a little different. They do mean the value, okay? But in other cases, equity, when you're looking at property management equity, right, it means how much it's earned. In this case, it doesn't reflect that. This is just the value of the company, and that's it. Boom. All right? So since you aren't going into the accounting section, what happens is we get to create the statement of equity. Now you can go ahead and research this, Google it, and what it does is basically it's going to take any form of income, whether like an investment money, and that's basically going to be the initial part of how equity is created, right? And whether your business makes a profit or a loss, what happens is you're going to see the either profit or loss is going to be reinvested into your company, so it brings the value up or down. Obviously, a profit's going to bring it up, but if you have a loss, it's going to bring it down. So that's where we're talking about right here, this piece of equity. When you go into the when we're talking about the statement of equity, it's already calculated for you automatically right here. And we're going to talk about this in chapter 13 when we close out our books. What happens to equity when we close out our books? All right. So in this case, the statement of equity is actually essentially right here. All right. It's combined together with the balance sheet because ultimately here our total assets equal our total liabilities plus our equity. And that's what this statement is. That's all it's asking you to do. Okay. And then last but not least is going to be the statement of cash flows. This is for just company and financials. So statement of cash flows. So here is the statement of cash flows. There's only about a couple of them. So yeah, exactly 2. So one of them is pretty much this one, and the other one is for forecasting. So forecasting is like making predictions, but in this case, there's usually one or two. There's only usually 1 or 2 statement of cash flows. And what the statement of cash flows is, so because we have the option to allow us to look at our projections or our information based on either an accrual or a cash basis. Basically, what this statement of cash flows does is it gives us a full description of how much cash is actually flowing into the company and how much cash is actually flowing out of the company. So essentially, in blatant terms, I should say, it's basically taking your accrual accounts and converting them into cash. All right? And it's creating a report based on that. And it's broken down into 3 categories. In this case, it's supposed to be broken down into 3 categories. You have your operating, you have your financing, and you have your investing. All right? Your operating is obviously pretty clear, right? Anything that has to do with your current assets, right? Your inventory or even accounts receivable, okay? Where your financing is going to be anything that's a long-term liability, so like loans, right? That finance that that brings money into your company, right? And then lastly, investing. Investing is like when you make purchases of fixed assets, right? You're making an investment to the company. So that's what a cash statement of cash flows does, is it allows us to break down our accounts, and it kind of categorizes whether we're making it's supposed to be flowing in or it's something that flows out. So as like I said, I mentioned earlier, right? Financing, right? If we took a loan, what are we doing? We're essentially, having cash flowing into the company. However, when we make purchases or an investment activity, we make purchases of fixed asset, we're spending the money. Does that make sense? So this is actually taking a look at how much cash is flowing into the company and how much cash is flowing out of the company. So, yes. All right. So in this case, here it is. The list of it is right here. So my statement of cash flows reflects that it should be outstanding 23,872. So this also entails with your checking account too. How much cash you began with and how much cash is at the end of the day. All right, that's the best way I can describe the statement of cash flows. And there it is. Okay. So those are the main financial statements that you should know, especially if you are the accountant itself, because these are things that you are required to complete at the end of any given period. All right. So those are going to be your accounting reports. Now there's 2 more that I do want to show you as well, and they are pertinent to this as well. So we're going to talk to you about the general ledger. The general ledger, okay, is going to be considered an accountant and taxes category. Under this allows you to build reports that happen during the period or during your accounting. You're doing it as you go. That's the best way to describe it, right? Where your financial ones usually happen at the end of the given period. So when we talk about the trial balance, which we've mentioned this before, what the trial balance entails is it gives you a list of every single account that exists, and it determines one factor. Do your total debits equal your total credits? Okay? Hence the word trial balance. Okay? Now don't confuse that with the balance sheet, okay? Because the balance sheet is reflecting the accounting equation. In this one, we're not looking at our assets equaling our liabilities. We're looking at all of our debits and we're looking at all of our credit accounts, okay? And again, this is definitely something that you do need to know as the accountant, because it is very important that your when you do your accounting, that essentially that that when you enter in a bill, that it's increasing its accounts payable account in the correct way. So what the trial balance actually does is it just ensures the accuracy of your accounting. And again, this is for more, on the accountant side. This is their job to ensure that everyone's doing their job correctly and that they are entering in their transactions correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and run that report. So as when I ran it, this is what it looks like. So again, it's a list of every single account, and it's going to be divided between your debits and your credits. And your ultimate goal is to make sure that your debits equal your credits at all given times. So in this case, I have a perfect 53,683 debits, and I have an equal and opposite of the 53,683 credits. So this is more along the lines of needing the accounting background to truly understand why this is really relevant, especially because when you have the accounting background, as I've mentioned before, you have an upper hand when it comes to controlling QuickBooks. You get to control QuickBooks, and you know the ins and outs and how to modify it, manipulate it, and work, entering your journals, which we talked about, entering your debits and credits. You have the upper hand of understanding that and being able to, again, manipulate, control QuickBooks the way that you want it to do it. But again, QuickBooks isn't necessarily, you don't need to have an accounting background, or you don't necessarily need to know accounting in order to use QuickBooks, because the company, they'll tell you, your job is, you're in charge of sales. All you need to do is just enter your sales receipts and enter in invoices. You're not doing the accounting in the background. QuickBooks does it for you. All right? So this is definitely for, this would help you more if you understand and have the accounting background. Why is it important that your debits and credits match? This is so then it ensures the accuracy of your accounting, making sure that you properly debit your accounts and you properly credit your accounts. Okay? And I'm going to leave it at that. All right?
Okay.
Not only is this important to make sure that all your debits and credits match, the second thing I do want to show you too is going to be the general ledger. All right, so right next to it is your general ledger report. Your general ledger is going to be the list of every single account that exists in your books, and basically it gives you your account balance. So more or less, it's your chart of accounts, but in report form. That's the easiest way I could describe it to you. All right? It's a list of every single account that exists in QuickBooks or in your chart of accounts, and it gives you your account balance, okay, in report form. That's it. So 31. All right, so I'm going to run this report. What does it say? QuickBooks combines. If you want to display. Okay, do not display the widgets. Okay. So here you go. List of everything that we have in our list, and it's breaking it down. So each one, of course, and you can toggle them with your little arrows too if you don't want to show this too much information. Go, why can't I clear you up? I don't want to see all this. Anyways, but it gives you everything based on an account. So here, this is my checking account, right? And this is all the transactions that happened between January. And here's the account balance as well in each account. And then same thing here. Money market's the second one, right? It gives you the detail into what has happened, and etc., etc. So it gives you a list of every single account, and it gives you the activity as well as the account balance itself. So again, more or less, it's your chart of accounts, but in report form. Any questions? All right. So that is going to be everything that the book tries to tell you as well, but something you should know as an accountant if you do plan to apply as the accountant. Those are going to be the most important financial reports that you do need to run on the daily. Okay. So that's the accounting reports. So next section here is, am I on the right one? Next section that we're going to be talking about is going to be your business and your business management reports. So again, your business management reports is pretty much anything and everything that's pertinent to the business itself, right? Sales is very important. Your income, your expenses are very important, right? Any reports that's in regards to that. So every single report we've done so far, from chapter 7, from chapter 2, from chapter 4, all of those that we got to take a look at are going to be your business management ones, okay? Looking at sales by representatives, sales by class, sales reports in general, right? Your list of your customers, your vendor list, all of those are going to be your business management, all right? Any questions in regards to that?
No, that's pretty self-explanatory.
Pretty self-explanatory. However, let's go ahead and take a look at this, because what you can do too is that because these reports are standard, I'm going to show you how to customize the reports. Might as well show you another concept within another concept. So let's go ahead and take a look at a customer contact list. Okay, so that's going to be under list, right? Because it's just a generic list. And let's see, we have a customer phone number list, a customer contact list, okay? And we want the customer contact list, okay? And of course, I'm just gonna say for all customers, so the date doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this report. So here is a list of my contacts for all my customers. Notice this, there's just too much information. I don't need to see all this information. However, I'm going to create a custom report from out of this. I want to create a customized report for, let's see, I want to use the customer's contact list, maybe because I want to send some advertising. I want to create a report using information, and I want to use it to create a promotional mailing list, right? So I want to be able to mail all my customers out a promotional sale, or maybe you have a holiday coming up. What was the last one? President's Day. I'm having a President's Day sale. I need to mail it out to all my customers so they can receive a coupon and redeem it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, of course, all this information, do I need to know the customer's full name? Yes, you do. I do need to know where to bill to, but this information is actually I don't really need it. I don't need to know their primary contact. I just need to know their name, their address, and then maybe possibly a telephone number. I might be able to call them up instead. And I need to know, obviously, because I'm sending out mail, I need to know how I'm going to address my clients. So let's go ahead and click this button up here. It says Customize Report. When I click on that, I get this little window that allows me to customize however I want on my report. So if there's information I don't need, I can get rid of it. So in this case, let's take so it's actually broken down into categories. So you have 4 categories to modify or customize. So in this case, I'm going to start on the first one. What do I want to display? Columns. So here, this is what I have the information that is on my list right now. I have, okay, I have a left margin. I have a customer. I'm going to get rid of that. I have their balance total. Do I need that for a mailing address list? No, I don't need that. All right. Let's see. I do need to know if they are I do need to know if they're a Mr. or Mrs. I do need to know their first name. I don't need to know their middle name, but, their last name would be very helpful. Do I need a main phone number? You know what? I might end up calling these people as well just to remind them. I don't need a fax number. Okay, and then let's see, what else do I need? I do need a billing address. So primary contact, I don't need to know that. I do need to know their billing address. So bill to is definitely gonna be something I need. So here we have bill to. Good. And that's all the information I need. So good. So I only need those columns. Now, you're not only limited to that much information. So now that if I go ahead and click OK, notice that my screen just actually refreshed. So here it shows me my report. I only have the 5 things I need. I need their billing address. Okay. I have whether they're a Mr. or Mrs. or Dr. Mr. Dr. Tim Fang right there. We have their first name, we have their last name, and we have their phone number. Okay, that's all I need for a simple promo billing address list. Okay, now I can go beyond customizing that. I can customize what the information I want on a report, but let's talk about the second one, filters. I can even filter my information if I wanted to. In this case, I've already filtered my information as is already, so I don't need to really use that part. But in case you do have the information, you can have filters to allow you to filter through your information if you need to. The next section here is going to be headers and footers. So as you can see here, my header right now, or my title at the top of my window, it's in this navy blue color, and it says Academy Photography. All right. Yes, I want to display my company name. To me, that's important. All right. Do I need the report title? Yes, that would be great to have it on there. Okay, but we're going to change that in a few minutes, so don't worry about that. So here, am I going to have subtitle, which is the February date? I probably won't need that. I don't need that if I'm creating a customer contact list. I definitely don't need that. Date prepared, probably won't need that either. All right. Time prepared, don't need that either. And printer header on paper, of course, we're gonna need that as well. So that's that. Now let's say I want to also customize the actual titles on here. So if I go ahead and click on fonts and colors, I can actually choose specific things that I want to to customize, right? For example, my company name. My company colors is maroon, black, and white. So why would I have it reflect as this navy blue? So I can go ahead and actually change the font color to this, right? I click change font, and I can even change the way it looks, right? What if my company doesn't use this font? What if my company uses this awesome font right here called this 95 font? And then, of course, I want to change the color. I'm going to change it to maroon. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then by doing so, I will make those changes. And then see, it shows me right here. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK at the bottom. And what do you know? It changes to how I want it to be. Right? And it makes it real nice like that. And here, of course, I have customer contact list. That's perfectly fine. If I want to change the title of it, I can do so. All right? All right, maybe I should change that too so then it reflects what I want it to say. Maybe I should change it to say, instead of customer contact list, I'm going to make it say customer mailing address list. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And notice this, now it changed to customer mailing address list. Now, here's the great thing about QuickBooks. We can memorize this report for any time that we need it. So that's the next section that we're going to be talking about, is memorizing these reports. So if you go up to the very top of the window here, you have where you have memorized right here. If I memorize this report, so that means next time I run this report and I format it exactly like this, that means the next time I run this report, it's going to save the changes of my the customization, and it's going to run it exactly like this. However, it's not going to save the information, as in like the data. So if I'm adding a bunch of other customers, right? Or let's say by doing this promo address, I end up reaping in like 20 new customers. It's not going to save the data, but it will save how I save the changes. Like I changed the formatting of the title, right? I changed the font of the color. If by clicking memorize, what's going to happen is it's going to ask me, well, what do I want to name this memorized as? Perfect. It changed it as customer mailing address list. All right. Save this memorized report group, or do I want to save this report template with others? In this case, this is where you're going to choose the location that you want to send it to. So in this case, I'm gonna just go ahead and click on, we could do group. And we're going to make this, what kind of group would this be? This would actually technically be a list group, right? It'd be under, banking company. It'd be under customers. Okay? And then I'm going to click OK. Now, if you have your sound on, it just took a picture or screenshot of my report. Okay? Now, let's take a look at where I can find that report, because I don't know what happened when I memorized for my reports. So if I'm going to go ahead and put this down. So in order to find it, when you go into your report center at the top of the window, you have memorized reports. Okay, and because we set it in customers, right? We set it up in an existing group already. If I click on customers and I scroll down, I'm gonna show up. It's gonna show up somewhere. Where is it? Not here. Not here. Not here. Right here. I have my customer mailing list right here. I just created that. It's a custom report. If I click on it, it's gonna show exactly what I have right here. Okay, obviously I can choose the dates. Yes. So it just memorized a report for me. So then the next time I want to produce this again with the new people, I can just run the report and it will do it for me automatically with all my stuff changed. Okay? So that means if you're doing a trial balance, right? You have to do that every month or every week even. Just memorize the report, so then you just go there, boom, boom, boom. Everything is saved exactly how you want it to look and how it's displayed for exactly how you want it to look. Okay? All right. Not only that, you got options to do a lot when it comes to saving your reports as well. You can print them right at the top here. You can print them. An awesome thing too is they make it even paperless friendly. You can save it as a PDF. Okay, so that means you can save it as a PDF. So next time you can send this report, you can copy it on your flash drive and bring it to your company and be like, here you go. Here's the mailing address. You don't need to waste paper. Okay, so that's what's cool about that. You could print it or you can save it as a PDF. You can even email it to your people as well too. You can either save it as an Excel file or save it as a PDF and you can mail it. Okay, that's what's cool. You can even send it as an Excel file because in case it's say, with this, there's a few things that you can't change, like such as the columns and the headers, right? You can't really change those. So what you can do is you can export it to Excel and modify it how you like and send it however you like. Okay, and then yes, those are the last 3 things that you can do. Oh yeah. You can print it, you can send it, you can even export it to Excel, right? And that's it. So that's it for that right there. Now there's actually one more thing I do want to show you as well in case you forget. So if you go onto here and we are looking at a report under company and financials. Let's say we did run a profit and loss, right? And I double click it. I accidentally forgot to change the dates because look, I'm in 2021. So of course, up at the window, you can customize it or fix that by choosing the dates up here. So that's one thing I forgot to show you as well. All right, so we're coming up short on time, so that's what you can do too here. Second thing that you can do here with this, now that we memorize reports and whatnot, we can also create graphs. So I'm going to take a quick example here in my sales report. So I can go ahead and take a quick, I can create a quick report on this graph right here. So again, let's go ahead and just run it. So as you can see here, this is 2021. I'm gonna have to change the dates to it though. Okay, let me undo that and do it again. So I have to change the dates to I'm gonna change the date to January 2019. And I'm gonna make it to December the end of the month, so January 31st of 2019. Okay, and I'm gonna run this. Now look how cool this is. QuickBooks is so smart, so clever. It took all the information and it created a graph for us. All right. Awesome, right? And even better, if you want to take a closer look at the pie, you can click on the pie and it will open up to give you even more details about what that information about that particular part of the pie is. Okay? So that's what's really cool about that. Now, cool thing is you don't even need to do it yourself. It does it for you automatically. Bad thing is you can't choose the colors. So
like an Excel.
Yes. So you can't choose like Excel. Excel you could choose the colors. Here you can't.
Yeah, right.
Okay? And with Excel too, you can even like pull them apart and whatnot. Excel does a lot more. In this case, it just creates a standard graph and calls it a day. It selects random colors and just places them in there. So that's bad thing is that when you run your reports, the great thing about the reports is if you have people who are visual, this is perfect for them because when you do your presentations on the profit managers come do a presentation about the company saying, well, look at our profit margins, we're doing so great. However, in San Jose we're not doing so great, but in Walnut Creek we're doing absolutely great. they're going to use any form of any visual appeal to make their case or to, spice up the reports a little bit, then yes, it allows you to create graphs in a click of a button. You don't need to do anything. All you need to do is just make sure you set your I forgot what it's called, but you set your limits, set your limitations on exactly which point in time you want the graph to look, or in this case, what point in time do you want to create the graph based on. So in this case, this is sales overall for January, for the month of January, and again, you can create the graphs with the click of a button, but you can't modify it, you can't change it, you can't customize the colors at all. That's the downside to it. All right. Okay, so we talked about graphs, we talked about memorized reports. What else is next? I think we have one more concept left, and that is talking about quick reports. So we talked very, very, very briefly about what quick reports are, okay? So, and this is primarily going to be coming into play when we talk about our chart of accounts. So this is where you could do a quick report on anything and everything. So I'm going to show you a couple examples here. Now, if you remember when I talked about in chapter 1 and briefly in chapter 12 as well, that we have the difference between permanent accounts and temporary accounts. The permanent accounts have registers. As you can see, they have account balances, right? And if I double click on them, they're going to open up a register, all right? However, our permanent accounts are going to be our assets, liabilities, and our equity, because they always have to maintain open. If they close out at any given time, then that just means that your company is done for. It's no longer doing business. However, a perfect way to measure profitability is to close out your income and your revenues, because you're never ever going to reflect the same income every single month or the same expenses every single month. So for here, if I double click on my income, I get what's called a quick report. So basically, it's a snapshot of what is going on in that account. And that's exactly what a quick report does. Now, needless to say, because none of these have quick reports because I'm in 2021. I just have to toggle the date. Let's go back to income, right? Income. Let's go ahead and take a look at where are my sales at? So I have advertising, expense, sales, okay? So if I were to double click on this, right, as you can see, I have nothing because I'm in the wrong date. If I were to click all, there is my quick report here. This is what has happened in the last, just as of today, this is all transactions. So basically it gives you a quick overview of your transactions of that particular account. Now, that doesn't mean that just because your assets and your liabilities and your equity, it doesn't mean you can't do a quick report to them. However, you just have to take a little extra step. So instead of double clicking on them, so I'm going to click my checking right now, right? You're going to go down to the bottom to reports, and you're going to do a quick report. And that's the difference, okay? And then here you go. This is a list of all my transactions that has happened for my checking account here, okay? But again, it's just it's just an additional step where the other ones that you for your income and your expenses, you could double click on them. It's for your assets, liabilities, and your equity accounts that you have to go down to the bottom and run a quick report for, okay? Now, that's just looking at your accounts. You can do quick reports for your people as well, all right? If you notice this, if I click on my customer, right? We're going to pick on Mr. Bob Mason because he seems to be, no, actually, let's do Miranda's Corner because she actually owes us money. If you go down on their customer little section here, you have reports here. Okay? Run reports. And if I click on this, it says review as a report. So this is a quick report on Miranda's Corner. Just like that. And of course, you also have to toggle the date as well because it's not going to give you everything unless you click all. All right, so here it gives you a report that this person has done an invoice and they owe you $1,000. Okay, so again, instead of using your little customer center itself, right? You know how you can view your transactions here. This one's in a report form. That's pretty much it. Okay. Okay. So that's quick reports. Any questions in regards to chapter 6? Excuse me.
Don't think so.
All right. Again, it's pretty straightforward in regards to understanding what kind of reports that you need to do. But the most important ones, if you are the accountant, then yeah, you need to know those key factors, ones that you have to run every month. Versus, yeah, and then QuickBooks allows you to modify them however you like. So if there's no extra questions, let's go ahead and run and go through these review questions real quick. So question number 1, what are the 2 main types of reports in QuickBooks?
C, accounting and business.
Accounting and business, good. Number 2, okay. Use the customize reports button on the reports to
Add and delete columns. A.
Good. Yes, you either add or delete columns for this, okay? Let's see. B, change the width of columns on the reports. No, it doesn't allow you to do that. C, print the report on blank paper. Really? You need to select an option to print a report on blank paper. Seriously? And then D, memorize the report for future use. No, that's the memorize button, not the customize button. Okay, good. Number 3, you cannot create a quick report for
D.
D, incorrectly posted entries. Yes, unfortunately, you can't do that. However, we did get to take a look at a locate discrepancy. It's not an error itself, but it's when you're looking for errors in your accounting. But yeah, no, you can't run a quick report on that. But you can, again, we took a look at running a quick report on accounts, right? You could do it for items. You could do it for people. So, yeah, all except D. Good. Number 4, to create a report that lists each of your vendors along with their addresses and telephone numbers and so on and so forth. What do you do? How do you do it? I guess that's the question.
Go to your vendor contact list first. That would be A.
Okay. But the question is, how do you create a report on it?
Make sure I'm reading it right.
Sorry, I may have confused you.
B.
B, let's see what B is. Open the search window and then do a search for your vendors. No, actually no. I think you were right. A is the correct answer.
What was?
Yeah, sorry about that. So let me see. A. Yes, A is the correct answer for number
'Cause
4.
I figured you'd go there first and then customize from there.
Yes, you would display the vendor's contact list. Yes, that's sorry. I did. Yeah, sorry. Yes, A is correct. Yes. Now, yes. How do you get to that customer contact list?
How do you get to the customer contact list?
Yes.
You go up to customers.
Okay, this is vendors.
I'm sorry. Well, you said customers.
Sorry,
It's like,
sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm
okay,
just
so
confusing you way more.
so you go up to the vendors list, or you could go through the vendor center.
Okay, we are in the vendor center. Oh no, actually no, we're in customers. Let me go to vendor center. Oh, I get what this one is. Okay, so this one is actually asking you to create a report. This is just showing you a general overview of it. How do you create a report on it?
Well, you're already in the vendor center, so you can go to reports
Okay, reports.
center.
Go to the report center.
Yeah,
Report center.
and then go over to my list.
List. Good. And then you.
I have the customer phone list right there.
Good. Good. All right. Sorry, I just keep confusing you even more. It's a long day. Number 5. Number 5. In order to analyze the profitability of your company, you should.
Well, number 1 doesn't make sense. So it doesn't make sense. B.
B. Absolutely, because the purpose of creating a profit and loss is to figure out whether your company is profitable or not, or profitability in this case. So good. Good. All right. Okay, now it's exactly 4:30. Is there any other questions that you have? Because tomorrow, let me go ahead and give you the rundown on your test tomorrow.